Hello and welcome back to Rule the Waves 3, and it's Germany 1890 to 1970 play through. We just completed the first year, 1890, without any major hiccups. We had the rebellion in, let's call it German East Africa, Tanganyika. Oh my god. But also the tension with UK and, or should I say, Great Britain and France went up from 4 and 5 respectively to 7 and 8 respectively, and that's 3 bumps in 1 year. And I'll take responsibility for 1 point of increase with France, but the rest were sort of random fluctuations and should I say traditional enmity. Germany and France, Great Britain are never going to be great friends in this game, and at this point you are weak, so best to go under the radar. But what are we going to do today? We are going to continue playing out hopefully several years. We will build more ships, maybe refit a few ships. You can see this Prince Heinrich, that's the last of the pre-built ships. Next up in about a year are our 2 first Valkyries and our light cruisers that are actually sort of fast cruiser meant for combat. 21 knots is fast at this point, 8,000 ton. That's bigger than our old legacy heavy cruisers. And their armament is, I think, okay. And then later, in a year and a half almost, we will get our first Bismarcks. Obviously not the Bismarcks of 1940s fame, but another class entirely. This is our 12,000 ton armored cruiser that I suspect will do fairly well in eating other enemy cruisers and chewing up the superstructure of any battleship stupid enough to get in their way. And these are 20 knot ships, and there are no battleships that can outrun them, so it can actually hunt down and kill these battleships. That's my hope. Anyway, we also have a colonial cruiser going, XC Felix Schultz, that will definitely head to the Indian Ocean and supplement my other colonial cruisers. And I also think I would want to build a few more auxiliary craft, a few minesweepers, just to get that going. I like to have some minesweepers always in my fleet. They are cheap to have and cheap to refit, so I don't have to wait several months to build sort of convert civilian trawlers into minesweepers. You can do that totally, but it takes like 3 months to design. Design is 0, and building them is 3 months. So you don't want your cap ships to run into a bunch of mines starting very early. But it's very early yet, so there aren't going to be a lot of dense minefields, but it's better to be prepared. And we have our ships reasonably organized. But I think these CBs that I bulged and made into sort of floating battery ships, they I think they need to go into their own squadron soon. A squadron that I will attach to the battle fleet. They will sort of hang out together because they are both very slow. But we can reorganize that in a bit. But priority 1 is quelling that rebellion, and to that end you can see that I have several ships in the Indian Ocean, so I'm probably over capacity there. And now this one that is on active station has somehow decided that it wants to not hang out in South Africa. Did I send it to the wrong location? Did I send it to the South Pacific? Probably. I sometimes when I try to do this, I sometimes misclick and send it into the Southern Pacific instead. I don't think that's what happened here, but I'm not entirely sure. No, that was a 9. Already I'm confused. I have only a handful of ships and I just started this session and already I am confused. This is of course the one I was. This is the tiny ship that I was sending to the Pacific, but let's just send it back to South Africa. But we have no ship in South Africa. This one was supposed to move to Southern Africa. I want this one in West Africa, and I want this colonial cruiser in South and West, and then I have my light cruisers in the Indian Ocean. That's just like it should be. Okay, much confusion there. But let's just hit the turn button for now. On-size commission, that was the last one. Königsberg has finished. You're due to hold a speech at the annual gathering of the Navy League. What is the gist of your speech? There's a little typo there. I'm not sure. Here you can reduce tension, and this is very effective, I think, against sort of democracies like France and Great Britain. So if we choose this, we can reasonably expect this tension to go down. This increases tension, and that can be dangerous, but because that will typically bump the tension with Great Britain and France. So we definitely do not want this. I do not really want to do this either because it hurts my budget, but getting into a war would hurt me more, so it's an option. Or we could sort of increase tension with a specific enemy. And Russia, we are not afraid of Russia. We don't want to get into a fight with them, but tension is very low and they are not a traditional enemy in that sense. So the chance of tension suddenly spiking is much less. But if we pick this, we get more budget, we get some prestige, and we get a serious bump in tension with that specific country. But this one is random, but often I feel the nice democracies or the guys close to you, I'm not sure how the exact mechanics are there. You're not supposed to know either. So I think we will do this and just keep praying. Yeah, we have crushed the rebels. Okay, great victory. Then we can reassign some ships. And let's see here. Are there any tension events now? We have more ships in the Indian Ocean. Okay, we will sort that out. Yeah, you can see the prestige bump there. I'm gonna click the save button. It's just something that I do all the time. I'm probably a bit paranoid. And then every year I usually copy my game to another slot to playing in slot 4. So every year, every January, I copy it to the slot below. Then I sort of have a backup if something happens. So if I have a major crash, so you can also use it if you sort of want to play out to see how would it go if I did this, how would it go if something else happened instead. What if I choose war, or what if I choose to reduce tensions? Yeah, now I'm talking again without actually playing. That's my weakness. I like talking. So the rebels are crushed. Let's go to ships in service. We have no longer a need for all these ships, so I will try again to send this back to Northern Europe. So now I have my the area overview. We need 2,000 on station on each of West and South Africa. And that can be fulfilled by those 2 colonial cruisers by a good margin. Here we have 450 extra tons. Remember the C here, the colonial service gives 25% extra, so this is 2,500. This is a tiny ship, so it only counts half, so it's 2,500 plus 450. So this one is not needed. These are sort of over the requirements, but they are not big enough to fulfill the requirements in the Indian Ocean. But our 2,400 tonner that we are having production, it will effectively be 3,000 tons, so it can sit in the Indian Ocean and do the job there. Then we can bring the last Hela back. This one is in the Indian Ocean, and you can see from the tonnage here that the tonnage here is 6,800. You might wonder how this is calculated. If you look at the Indian Ocean, you have these two, they are 6,200. Also very big ships also contribute much less to battleships and large heavy cruisers do not count their full tonnage towards this requirement. But this is also a small ship, so it only counts half, so 6,002 plus 600, 6,800, yeah. So I could use these two here. This would be 600, this would be 450, that's 1,000. Or just the 600 plus this one. This would also satisfy the requirement for the Indian Ocean, but then I am in need of one extra ship anyway, so this works. Yeah, there's no particular need for me to have this one sailing around, so let's just bring it back home. Think I need it anymore. Yeah, the rebellion was crushed. That was good. See, there I clicked the save button again. Blah 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 blah. I think we are set, so let's do turn. Kaiser has made a foreign policy gap. Yeah. You're asked to smooth things over by the naval secretary. I never noticed it cutting the text like this. I'm on 10034. Maybe a minor bug in the beta that I didn't notice before, but okay. I would never presume to undercut the authority of the Kaiser. Prestige and tension, but I don't like a random tension bump now. Agree to make a bland statement. Lose prestige. I don't want to lose prestige. I want to have prestige. I'm not super concerned about my prestige, but I will try to keep it somewhat up. This one is actually better. Divert the tension because it gives me a bump and also lets me direct the tension towards Russia. But now, improved steel, okay. Any random bumps? No. So now you see we have done 2 double tensions on Russia. Now they are in the territory where we really don't want to provoke them anymore. Not at this point anyway. Yeah. So because our new ships aren't arriving, and we won't really have a reasonable fleet until yeah, at least a year from now, I would say 2 years, then we can maybe start thinking about defending ourselves. But I would rather not have any wars until the middle of the decade. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to cough. Okay, coughing managed. The joys of the Norwegian winter. Yeah. So, but we were briefly touching on something last session, and that was our dock size here, and we were going to sort of get an improved Fürst Bismarck. And there are things we could do here. If we try to increase it by 1,000 ton, not to the full 1350 we are allowed, then we can stay within this parameter. If you click it one more time, then it's not the same class anymore. So let's just bump it with 1,000 tons, and then we can do it again if we want to add those last 500. And now we have 650 to play with. And there are things I would like to improve. I would like it to have even better armor. I mean, I would want to have the gunning tower maybe a little bit better protected. Same with the turrets. The secondary guns I would love to have up to 2, so they are at least splinter proof and relatively immune to 4-inch and semi-resistant to 5-inch fire. Not so much 6-inch fire. Yeah, 6-inch at long range it can resist to a certain degree, but once we get close, it's not going to happen. I could also want to increase the heavy guns, but to 8-inch, but then you see our weight goes down quite a bit. Increasing this to 6 inches, that would be very nice. So going to 6 inches and 2 inches here, and no, that's not possible. That's way too much. I have to sort of decide between 2 of 3. I could have more armor and, oops, 8-inch main guns. That would bring me all the way down to this. And then if I want bigger secondary guns, that would bring me far into the negative. So I probably couldn't do this. But we are not actually going to produce this ship. We are getting it at least to 1350. Oh, right. Never mind. Once you change the main caliber, it's no longer the same kind of ship, and you have to go through the whole process again. So the question is, should we keep the 7-inch? You can see they shoot out to 9,000. They have some penetration. The 8-inchers shoot out to 9,000. They have somewhat better penetration, but at this point they are only going to sort of penetrate the belt of a light cruiser up close. So I think overall we are going to keep it at 7, but we are going to bring the secondary battery up to 6 inches. That's quite a bit better, I think. Now we have a whole host of good options here, and we have also armored the secondary battery better. Or we could alternatively just, if we go back to where we were, we could add even more double 7-inch turrets. This would look a bit strange. I would have to clean up the graphics, but you can see this becomes a bit heavy, and we also changed the class, so then we might as well do the full 1350. But if we do that, then we could see if we could maybe go up to 6 inches. Now we suddenly have 16 instead of 14 7-inchers, and we have 6 inches instead of 5 inches. But I feel that maybe the second... I feel that the secondaries are too lightly armored. I know there are people who think armoring a single mount secondaries 5-6 inches, that's just a waste of tonnage, because it's better to just accept that they sometimes get hit and get knocked out than armor them heavily. But to me this always feels a bit strange. So let's play around. If I do this, I would need to bring my ship up to at least 14,000. At 14,000 I could get this. Yeah, it's good to know. If I wanted an incremental increase, I could build, could even build it like this. Do an incremental upgrade like this, with a little bit heavier armor and 6-inch guns instead of 5-inch guns. But I don't know. I'm not sure how much more useful this is going to be. On the other hand, we have a little surplus and we need to start either building a new ship, or I could look at refitting some of my older ones. Yeah, if I try to do 7 inches here, it's not going to work. I mean, this could work, but I feel maybe I should delay that development just a little bit. Maybe I could put another Valkyrie into production, then we could have a squadron of 4. Then we have a fast, rather powerful force of light cruisers. Then we could maybe seriously consider bulging some of the weak ones that we have. That's another possibility. I don't think I want to refit any of these ships, other ships, right at this moment. And yeah, normally when you have 3 nations like this with high tension, you should probably mobilize and start getting ready for war, because crew quality can be really important for the performance, gunnery with guns, torpedo shooting, and damage control. So definitely factor, also keeping your engines running, that sort of thing. But like I said the last episode, I would rather just pray that we do not get into a war right away. I don't see how I can come out on top of that one. It would be an uphill, a very frustrating uphill battle. But we have money to spare here, but not a whole lot, so let's just build another light cruiser. Valkyrie, pick a name. Freiburg sounds very medieval. I want the Freiburg. Oh, this is fine, I think. And I randomly click save and turn. Prince Heinrich has finished working up. Yes, good. A spy from France discovered. So either we can get a possible small bump when this is a parenthesis. I'm not sure. Either it's very small, or there's a certain low chance of a bump. You also get tension, so that's completely out of the question. Unfortunately, this doesn't reduce the tension, but at least it doesn't increase it, so we will handle it discreetly. Yeah, scientists are baffled as usual. France has commissioned another battleship. Okay, so you see the situation here is getting worse and worse. They are building 5 battleships. So in any sort of conflict, we would immediately blockade it. We wouldn't necessarily immediately lose, but we could do cruiser actions and that sort of thing and do well, I think. But in any serious battle involving battleships, there would be trouble. We don't even have destroyers yet to sort of equalize the playing field. So let's just keep praying. So reserve fleet. I just have to put this on reserve. This is cannot be on reserve. Active fleet. This is going home. Active. This one has managed to get home. It can be mothballed because it's not doing anything useful. This one as well is not doing anything useful because I need to have that light cruiser there anyway. So let's head back home. And turn. Ansa has finished working up. Okay, another event. Yeah, oh, this is a good one for us at this point. Kind of good. The Kaiser has been on a trip to France. Probably been drinking some wine there and having some cheese, and yeah, maybe he's gotten involved with the locals somehow. So now you can either say, no, we cannot trust France. Then you get better budget and more tension. But we do not want more tension. But the other option actually has a tension reduction. Unfortunately, you take a hit to the budget, but I feel that this is the correct option now. So maybe Großadmiral von Heck also can go to Paris for a little visit there. Make some friends. Okay, so they are working on destroyers. That's great. That's a new tech field that will open up. And once that opens up, it will get the high priority because there is a point in the game here where you get these tiny little torpedo destroyers, but they can really change the dynamics of your battles. Okay, yeah, temporary setback, surprise, surprise. This is the second temporary setback in explosives. And okay, so this went down with 2 points thanks to the event. So you can see our balance went into the negative, so we lost quite a chunk of budget there. But since we got lucky and got 2 drops in tension, I think maybe it was worth it. I think France is the nation that's most likely to randomly hate me. So keeping that managed, that's important. Now we definitely cannot start building any new ships, so let's just wait for this to finish. By the end of the year, I think I will also have a look at my divisions and reorganize some of the ships there. But let's see. Northern Europe, yeah, active, no, reserve. So only those that are on station need to be active. The battleships can be... This is a bit sad because even when they are on reserve, they will tend to drop to poor, and then you might get tempted to just mothball them. But you cannot mothball more than half your fleet anyway, so... but I'm not going to go all the way there. But we are in positive territory again, 5. You can also see that our intelligence now is working. Still working up for Russia, but the others there. Now we can sort of hit this intel report. These are our spies. We can also expect that these almanac entries are more correct or have more information. So if you go to look at their most recent battleship, the Mars class Majestic, or you can click on it and you can expect to see more information, I guess, and more correct information. So this is a 16-knotter, so it's way faster than our battleships. It's about the size of 2 of our battleships. It's more heavily armored. It has, wow, it has 8-inch guns. So it's armed about as heavily as one of our cruisers. But it has a secondary battery, a quite significant one, of 7 inches. And those tiny 2-inch guns. I guess that our 3-inch quality 1 guns represent sort of an 88mm or something like that. I mean, 3 inches, that's usually 75, 6mm. So we have a slightly more powerful gun than that. But they are building stuff. This one is 13,600 tons. So we should probably start looking at more powerful battleships. The reason they are building this, these are 8-inchers are reliable. They are not -2. And when you have 8-inchers, you can have a massive secondary battery of 7-inch guns. So it's not bad. Anyway, on to the next turn. Spy for a French ship. If you are paranoid, you can keep intel on nothing on France and Britain, just to be sure that you don't get those spy events that will provoke them, because that can bump your tension up even more. Light cruiser, 8-inch and 6, it's fair enough. It has a powerful gun fore and aft and plenty of 6-inchers, so it's not horrible. 3-inch belt, that is decent for a light cruiser. So it's 20 knots, not 21, so about the same speed as my cruisers. Not fantastic, but it's not a bad ship by any mean. Strikes and labor unrest. Yeah, and you will also notice that, wow, there my unrest went up to 5. This has happened every game, and I really don't understand why, because my naval budget is very small. I have gotten a handful of opportunities to increase said budget, but nothing excessive, so I'm not sure why the game keeps hitting me with unrest. That doesn't happen with every nation, so I think there is something about the time period and the fact that you are Germany. Usually time tends to sort of level out or decrease after a while. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. There are no options that I can pick. Well, I can. There is an opinion that if you, or it's even in the manual, if you always take the budget increase events, then your population might start complaining, but then you get these complaining events, and that's a clearer sign of that. But here we have done nothing really to indicate that we should be punished for this. It's so unfair. Well, anyway, nothing we can do anyway, so let's hit turn. Yeah, so we have no forces in the Baltic because of the threat from Russia. Ships in reserve, so that means that we should probably move some ships to the Baltic, so that's 1 turn of active service, and they will then move into the Baltic and be in reserve there. Major foreign policy crisis has erupted with Russia. If war is to come, it might as well come now. No, definitely not. But this one, we should safeguard our interest, but in a responsible and proportional way. We should be prepared to make compromises to avoid antagonizing Russia. But it doesn't give me any money boost, so I think I will risk it. And yeah, it only went up by 1, so I think that was a decent choice. And to be honest, at this point, I would rather not fight Russia, but I would rather fight Russia than France. So if it comes to that, it's better to get in a war with Russia, because then tension will sort of more or less freeze. There is no reason for France to hate on us anymore, and when the war is over, whether we win or lose, tensions will go down across the port. So it's maybe, I wouldn't say gamey, but you should pick your fights. You shouldn't just randomly go to war with your strongest neighbors. Better to go to war with a strong neighbor, but one that's not that strong. So our budget is back up. That's good. But of course, yeah, NOAA intel is good as well. And the almanac says they have a fleet more than twice our size, but some of it is going to be in the Far East, so the discrepancy isn't that big. So probably in Europe, our cruisers and light cruisers, we are going to be evenly matched. Light cruisers, we can maybe have an advantage there. Some of the light cruisers are in the east, but battleships. But battleships suck anyway at this. Let's see, they have some 15-knot battleships with 6 12-inch guns. Wow, yeah, it's not that horrible. Anyway, let's try to avoid that war for a little longer. But also, let us send some of our ships. Let's send these to the Baltic. They are mothballed now, so for one turn they will not be mothballed. So yeah. He was because of the tension he wanted. I don't remember. No, not intel reports. Messages. Yeah. Wow, I can't even see. Your current strength 0 required, and there is no way to get this. Cannot. In some screens you can sort of copy it to your clipboard, but here we can just not see what it. I think it was 70 or something, and you can see our entire fleet here is 108. So we might as well move the bulk of our forces, and then it probably tells us to move ships to the North Sea to keep an eye on the French. That's fine. I think it's time to face the fact that we could get into trouble. So let's activate our fleets. And now we can see the upkeep suddenly went into red. Not much we can do about that. Turn. Yeah, this is a problem, of course. Like I said, he's annoyed, but he's always annoyed. So now we are satisfying the requirement with the Baltic, but we don't even have enough ships to cover both. Yeah. So now we can beat the army in our football game. We will, of course, beat the army in a football match. Crew quality can't get any worse anyway, so it's not a problem. Yeah, fleet morale improves. So you can see this. Your prestige stuff. So we actually lose a prestige. We got the prestige, but we lost the prestige because he wants us to be in 2 places at once. This is one of the great things with having a bombastic head of state. So now we can look at the area overview, and now we have more than enough here. So if we move our entire fleet back to Northern Europe, then the Kaiser will probably not be upset about that. But then we will more likely than not get another one of those. He's annoyed with the Baltic events, and then we can go back and forth. It's probably better just to stay in one sea area. but we are going to sort of role play this a little bit. Yes, my Kaiser, mine Kaiser. Let's move back to Northern Europe to keep an eye on the British. Okay. Commander Manstein of the light cruiser Thetis, average lucky, has left his wife and moved in with an actress. We cannot tolerate scandalous behavior, or you could take a prestige hit. Yeah, whatever, he's out. So now we are in the negative, but we have some funds saved up. We could also, I suppose, use research to 10%, but I'd rather not. We have 4 Valkyries here, and yeah, are doing fine, I think. No, but let's send 1 squadron to the Baltic. Let's send this one, the one that has 1 ship also in the Indian Ocean. Let's move those to the Baltic. So maybe that will make Kaiser a bit less upset. Spanish ship, it's not interesting. It's an armored cruiser. Yeah, okay. It's smaller than the light cruiser we're building. Yeah. Britain, even more naval spending. I suppose they must have a very high unrest by now, as much they are spending more battleships. And in Japan, they are complaining they have too few cruisers, unexpected delays building the Valkyrie. By tension with Great Britain increased due to random tension change. Yeah, great. So now we can look at area. We still have more in northern. We have less in Northern Europe than he wanted us to have, and we have less in the Baltic. So whatever we do not have enough ships to sort of satisfy anyone. So I just have to take it on the chin, I suppose. Yeah. Great Britain, belt intelligence, belt armor of 10 inches and turret armor of 10 inches. Tension with Great Britain increases again. Okay, great stuff. I think the game hates me. It's only 1891 and it wants me to get into a war with Great Britain, despite doing my very best not to get into a war with Great Britain. Here I can get prestige. This is another event. You can make symbolic concessions. And at this stage, I don't feel that I can do anything to antagonize Russia further. So having a drop in tension here is just gravy. And that's December. And have a quick look at my divisions, because now we actually have a couple of decent ships here. So we will make a new cruiser division. Make a cruiser reserve. And the cruiser reserve will include the Hertha. I have 2 cruiser reserve. Okay, yeah. I forgot. I had sort of I had sort of planned ahead, but okay, let's just dissolve this one. We don't need 2. Yeah. Then we can put these 2. And they are basically the same. They have the same armament, they have the same stats, they have the same tonnage, but they are 2 different classes. That tends to happen a bit when you start new games. So the cruiser reserve. This one will be set role fleet flag. This one will be 4 to battle fleet Atlantic, which I will rename Baltic because they have no business sailing the high seas. Now I probably need to close this to see if the name updated. Yeah, Baltic. And Cruiser Division 1, I think I want to set its role to, could be a fleet flag, or it could be in, and it could be scouts for battle fleet. And it has support there. Light Cruiser 1, that's independent, and Light Cruiser 2 can be independent. They will pop up and join battles even if they are independent. So now, our new Valkyrie is only 1 month away. Soon we will start getting decent ships, and then we can definitely start another batch of cruisers, I think. So let's just hit the new year. So new docks complete. Valkyrie is commissioned, great stuff. One of our major shipyards is short on orders and is offering to build another Valkyrie in 19 months. I don't know. I think maybe we have enough light cruisers. We will have a squadron of 4 relatively fast and powerful light cruisers, and then we have 15 legacy light cruisers. No, normally I would say yes, because it builds them faster and at less cost. It's a good offer, but no, we have other priorities, so no. A regional war is imminent in the Balkans. One of our blah blah blah. Yeah. See, if we take this, great for our budget, but tension goes up, and I would guess that it's the Balkans, so these 3 guys are more likely to get a tension bump, and they can be quite significant, so we could end up going to war with Britain over this. So, but not only does it not give tension, it actually gives a tension reduction. We don't know with whom, so we can sort of pray again. Our prayers haven't really worked that well. Okay, we have big guns, 12-inch, but they are still quality -2. And again, we can't really figure out those explosive shells. It's getting ridiculous. Yeah, okay, it went down with all 3 nations that I pointed out. It's likely to bump 1-2 points on each of those if we had gone the other path. I'm gonna save there for now and be back in a minute. Great. Back with a new pot of coffee here. Here I'll do a little study on a new heavy cruiser, our Blücher class. And until I get some revolutionary technology, I like to sort of make iterations of already existing stuff, like we already talked about earlier in this video. So I'm sort of keeping the speed and the reliable engines and everything, but I am adding another 7-inch turret on the broadside. So now we have 3 on each broadside and the forward aft one. So you can now have 10 7-inch guns on each broadside, and that's starting to be pretty good. And I have also upgraded the 6 inches, and because I like having splinter protection on my secondary guns, I have gone ahead and done what some might consider wasted tonnage. I mean, I have put 500 tons into protecting these secondary turrets from sort of splinter damage and small fire. 4-inch guns and below, sometimes also 5-inch. I think it's useful, but there are also a lot of 6 inches and they will usually punch straight through. But it might make them live a little bit longer. But it's also because this is an armored cruiser, so I just want it to be that way. I've also upgraded the armor a little bit. Turret top and conning tower. And that's about it. I have 71 tons left, but that's fine. So this is sort of the next iteration. Von Heck has approved this design and wants it put into production as soon as possible. There were some that urged him to drop the armor on the secondaries and instead increase the tertiary guns to 5 inches, but that was too radical for him. So we will save this. Top side equipment, but it is just 1 point, so I don't think that's a problem. The ship has a narrow belt, yeah, I know, because I designed it like that, and for now we have sort of a rate of fire reduction, nothing to be done about that. But I can assure you those 10+inch guns, they are firing much slower anyway, so this is not a problem. We will develop it, yes. We could also take the Valkyrie, but our tonnage saving from technology is very minor. Yes, I could maybe give them 1-inch half splinter protection on the secondary. That could actually be pretty useful, well, at least in my mind. So if we are going to produce more Valkyries, I'm not going to increase the tonnage here. 8,000, I think that's the maximum for a light cruiser anyway. But I could call this just the Valkyrie 2. Because this is essentially the Valkyrie. I have changed nothing, but I've given it armor. But I could also try to see if will I fit 6-inch guns? And absolutely. And in this case, since this is a light cruiser, I think I can live with the fact that it has no armor. So this Valkyrie 2, it will follow on the heels of the Blücher, which gets a new class name because it has more significant changes. But this one just gets the upgrade from 5-inch to 6-inch guns. I am not immediately planning on yeah, it's just 2 points. I think I can live with that. It's either that or start using casemates, but casemates make me yeah, I don't like it. I know I can put tertiaries into casemates, but I don't want to, okay? It's just, to me, the tertiary battery of this area of warships, that's in the superstructure, light guns high up. And I just detest the secondary battery in casemates. I just can't play the game with casemated guns. I don't want that. So then I have to live with sort of top heavy until we can get those double batteries. That's my choice. So the question is, should we actually keep increasing our dock size? And I would say at this stage, yes. If you look at Great Britain, they have dock size of 15, 14. Okay, maybe we don't actually have to do it, but every time I do not increase dock size, I always figure I could have used more dock size. And we also need to start planning a proper battleship, and that will probably end up around, I don't know, 15,000 tons. So I think we will at least do one more round of that, and then we can hit turn. Spain is hosting a regatta, well-trained crews. Make sure they finish behind the host nation or go for the win. Prestige and tension, I don't care. Prestige with Spain is fine. Our latest design is ready for construction. Much as I'd love to keep building, that is a design for some other time, so not now. I can bring up that design and work on it if I get some interesting technologies or something. Let's press on. Augsburg is commissioned into the Navy, and our colonial cruiser, yeah. The steel industry wants a stronger Navy. They might want help to... Okay, so you can either take more budget and tension, and as usual you can expect their neighbors to have their tension increase, but it could be some it's pretty random. But we already have these guys so high up that I would take a prestige boost instead. Normally I would always go for the budget, but we still need the time to build up our economy and build up our fleet. So now we are slowly but steadily designing and building new ships here. We can also go to the division editor, and we can now use these Valkyries and add them to this mix. So the question now is, do we sort of want to mix them in with weaker ships, or do we want to keep them in their own very powerful battle squadron? And for now, I think I want them in their own separate squadron. So I will call that the Light Cruiser Division 2. That is, and all 4 will go into that one. And add ships. I can assign a commander if I have any brilliant ones. Above, below, above. Yeah, above. I can take him. I bet he's promoted or decides to leave the service or something. This move up stuff, I wish there were some hotkeys. I want this one above the scout cruisers. Okay. And I suppose we can just create the Cruiser Division 2 as well, because soon we will have more heavy cruisers. Did we already get one? No. This one also needs to move up. And we can also consider mixing the new cruisers with the old. We'll see how it goes. Anything else we should be doing? Yeah, no. Moment. Yay! The first Bismarck is commissioned. During trials, it's the first of its kind. The ship easily surpassing her design speed. Valkyrie has finished working up. The new government wants to reduce naval spending. Can get this. This increases tension. That's not good. You can take a hit to the budget. And you can also take a budget hit and also a tension reduction. Okay, I don't want a budget hit, but if I'm taking a budget hit, I also want tension to drop. So I'm only the admiral. I don't interfere in politics. Never gonna happen. Social reforms. The Blücher is ready for construction. Yeah. And it will be called the yeah. Oh, I think I need to put on the Norwegian keyboard. Then I did a W. Okay, there. 25 months. The Blücher will hit the water. Or be commissioned anyway. Social reforms. I was kind of expecting a reduction in unrest as well, but that didn't happen, so I guess our unrest only goes up. It's sad, but yeah, that's how it is. So, now the question is, should we stick this one in here and make it the flagship of this squadron. Yeah, I think we will. So now the next Bismarck will be the flagship of Cruiser Division 2. We usually want 4 ship heavy cruiser divisions, but we don't have that many ships yet, but more are coming. So, and I probably want to start a 3rd cruiser division since we are playing on a big size. I think I want to push forward a few more months and then sort of round out this video, and then I think I will try planning a few more refits of our existing fleets to sort of increase their firepower. I think that's more doable now that we have more modern ships coming into service. Then bulging some of these Helas, for example, that sounds more doable, or bulging the Frauenlobs, or well, I'll see what I'll do some design studies off camera, and then we can talk about it. But for now, let's just push forward, see if something happens. Adalbert is commissioned into the Navy. Promoted to Rear Admiral. Yeah, they promote the bad ones and automatically place them in command of our most modern, powerful fleet unit. It's a great system. It's almost like the real army. I was never in the Navy, but I was in the Army and the Air Force, so that's how these things work. Only taken to 11. I mean, this officer system, okay, it's kind of cool, but the effect, other than good and bad administrator, I think is minimal. Because, well, maybe when you get Naval Academy, you have slightly better than average officer, but it's a null-sum game, so some officers are good, some are bad, but the effect they have, they don't sort of give a flat bonus to their ships if they're really good. They can increase or decrease the crew quality beyond what it usually would be. So a brilliant commander might push a good ship into elite status on in battle. It's almost a small effect that it's just a little bit of extra frosting, or maybe not even frosting, but sort of a sprinkling of little. Yeah. So if you play on small fleet sizes, I think this system has very good character. It's fun and cool, and you can sort of follow the career of your officers and manually move them around and promote them. But once you get above medium for any of the major powers, I've tried to keep track of things, and it both makes little sense to do it because there is nothing to be gained in game terms, and you cannot sort of role play everything out in detail anyway, so it's better to just let the game run this stuff in the background and just laugh and nod and smile occasionally. Okay, the first Bismarck has arrived, and you can also assign divisions from this position, so I could sort of right click and then assign him to the 2nd cruiser division that has the incompetent commander. It has an assigned commander. Okay. Can we at least have a... No, we have only sort of incompetent, so we can... Von Koch, he sounds like a strapping fellow, so... No one can claim that High Command doesn't take an interest in the officer corps. So our divisions are filling out, and I am already more comfortable with our fleets. Yes, the enemy is growing as well, but these 2 cruiser divisions I now think they are now capable of fighting. And I also think our budget is such, and our tension situation is such, that we are actually going to keep most of our ships, if not all, on active, because active is only, well, it will help crew quality, and I don't want to go to war with anyone without a majority of my ships being good. That's sort of the, yeah. So for now, until the fleet gets much bigger, it will stay like this. And turn. Boom times, windfall and tax revenues. What is your recommendation on how to spend the money? Strengthen the navy. That's a good option because it gives budget and it gives prestige and it gives tension. Some say that this one is better because it increases your sort of base economy value, and that's how it increases the budget. It doesn't increase the budget directly with the budget modifier. It increases your base resources. I don't know. I wouldn't know, but this increases tensions, which we don't want, so we will definitely take that one. This will increase budget, but reduce prestige. We don't want less prestige, but the text makes me think that it could help reduce unrest. I don't know, but we will increase the long-term prosperity of the nation. That sounds great. Yeah, so already my monthly balance is starting to be good, and these ships are nearing completion. So I think we will actually build another Blücher. It will be York. You know what would be cool? If the game appended like USS or HMS or whatever abbreviation Navy is using at the time. Imperial Japanese Navy and Imperial German Navy. That would be cool. And you could have the USS Washington without sort of manually typing it in, because if you use one of the listed names and add a prefix, the game thinks that this name isn't used, and then it will try to use it, and then you have to manually name everything, and it's kind of annoying. Could be an option. June, let's press on. Bismarck has finished working up. Austria-Hungary is seeking improved relations. What do you recommend? Well, this is a bit tricky, because if we increase cooperation and maybe do an alliance with Austria-Hungary, and they are not very friendly with relations with France, Austria-Hungary, then they will tend to dislike me as well. And like I said, I don't really want that. Austria-Hungary isn't super strong. On the other hand, I would like an ally in the Mediterranean that can sort of annoy the French. Then the French can't 100% stay in the North Sea and blockade me. They will occasionally pop into the Mediterranean to try to do something about the Austro-Hungarians blockading Nice and Marseille. So it would be interesting. Maybe it could lead to an alliance. Our tensions are. What do you want? Well, let's increase our cooperation. One of our important dignitaries has been assassinated by a group of anarchists, apparently supported by Russia. What action will you recommend? Budget and plus tension. I picked this option when I wanted a war, and tension shot up like 3-4 points. I don't remember exactly, but it was from yellow something and straight into war. And do we want a war with Russia at this point? I know we want to fight and test our new designs, but I still feel that we could definitely use a few more ships before we take that step. But if you look at this, we get a budget increase, but we get a prestige hit, and this says tension plus plus. So if this is tension plus plus, this is plus 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 plus. So we will act in a responsible and restrained manner, but still probably see tension shoot up. Yeah, but it just jumped like, was it 1 point or 2 points? And for some reason France bumped up. Could be because we are chummy with Austria-Hungary, but also could be a random. I didn't read the report that closely. I still think this is manageable. Also the Führer has, or the Kaiser, I mean, sorry. To remove these to the Baltic. Now I have completely forgotten about Felix Schultz. He should be heading to the Indian Ocean. That's why we got hold of him in the first place. Video is starting to run its course. I think rather than pushing through the entire year, I'm going to call it there, and then I will look at some of the designs, not of new ships, but possible refits, and see if we could get into a war with Russia over Baltic region soon-ish, or if that's still a very bad idea. The gamer in me wants to fisticuffs, swords, guns. But according to my plan, I'm not ready to fight for another 2-3 years of fleet building. I want 3 years ideally, because now I want also to design a battleship. But anyway, I am going to call it now and see you soon.